Deep beneath the world's frozen wastelands, secrets are locked away for millennia. Vast ice sheets preserve history in layers of snow, and within this frozen archive, nature has kept its most extraordinary relics, creatures perfectly preserved in ice. Today we uncover 5 terrifying beings found frozen, and the chilling mysteries they bring with them. In the frozen Siberian wilderness, the woolly mammoth once roamed in great herds, perfectly adapted to the ice age. Their thick fur and immense tusks helped them survive the harsh tundra. Today, melting permafrost reveals astonishing finds, like Lyuba, a perfectly preserved baby mammoth offering a window into a lost world. The preservation of mammoths like Lyuba is a miracle of nature. In the Arctic permafrost, decay halts and bodies freeze in time. Hair, fat, even blood remain intact. These discoveries let us study not just their anatomy, but their biology, revealing secrets of life in the Ice Age. The discovery of preserved mammoth flesh, hair, and even liquid blood has sparked a bold question. Could we bring the woolly mammoth back from extinction? De-extinction, once science fiction, is now a real scientific pursuit. Scientists hope to recover and sequence ancient DNA using the Asian elephant as a genetic blueprint. With CRISPR, they aim to edit elephant embryos, creating hybrids with mammoth traits. The dream of seeing mammoths walk the earth again pushes science to its limits. The dream of resurrecting the woolly mammoth is both thrilling and controversial. Supporters see it as a way to restore lost ecosystems and fight climate change. Critics warn of ethical dilemmas and question if these creatures could truly thrive in a changed world. Should we bring back the past or focus on saving what remains? While the prospect of cloning a mammoth captures the public imagination, a far more immediate and insidious danger lurks within these thawing carcasses. For every magnificent creature that emerges from the ice, countless smaller, invisible organisms are released along with it. These are the bacteria and viruses that lived on and inside the mammoth during its lifetime, microorganisms that have also been held in a state of suspended animation for millennia. As the ice melts, they are reawakening, and they are entering an ecosystem that has no memory of them. The immune systems of modern animals, including our own, have evolved over thousands of years to combat the pathogens present in our current environment. We have developed defenses, both individually and as a species, against the familiar threats we face. But we have no defense against diseases that have been extinct for 40,000 years. The reintroduction of an ancient pathogen for which no living creature has immunity could have catastrophic and unpredictable consequences. It is a biological Pandora's box, and with every degree the planet warms, the lid creaks further open. Consider the mammoth itself. The animal may have died from an injury or by drowning, but it could just as easily have been suffering from a bacterial or viral infection at the time of its death. That pathogen, frozen along with its host, could be perfectly preserved. Scientists handling these ancient remains must take extraordinary precautions, treating every carcass as a potential source of biohazardous material. They work in sterilized environments, wearing protective suits not just to prevent contamination of the ancient sample, but to protect themselves and, by extension, the modern world from what might be lurking within. The risk is not merely theoretical. Scientists have already identified traces of ancient pathogens such as anthrax in the vicinity of thawing animal remains in Siberia. Outbreaks have been linked to the disturbance of these ancient burial sites. This is not a future threat, it is a clear and present danger. The magnificent frozen bodies of Ice Age giants are not just windows into the past, they are also potential vectors for ancient plagues, a chilling reminder that the thawing of the permafrost is not just an ecological issue, but a profound threat to global health. The story of the woolly mammoth, frozen in time, now on the cusp of rebirth, forces us to confront our relationship with nature. With technology to edit life's code, we face a profound choice: to restore what's lost or to respect nature's course. Is resurrecting the mammoth an act of wonder or hubris? We have the power, but should we use it? Our focus now shifts from the colossal and the visible to the microscopic and the unseen. While the resurrection of a woolly mammoth remains a subject of debate and future possibility, the reawakening of ancient life is already happening. In the same Siberian permafrost that entombs the great beasts of the Ice Age, an infinitely more numerous and potentially more dangerous population of organisms lies dormant. These are the bacteria and viruses that have been frozen for tens or even hundreds of thousands of years, a hidden world of microbial life waiting for the ice to melt. In 2014, a team of French and Russian scientists made a discovery that brought this invisible threat into sharp focus. They were studying a 30,000-year-old sample of permafrost, drilled from 100 feet below the surface in the Kolyma region of Siberia. Their goal was to see if any of the ancient microorganisms trapped within the ice could be revived. They placed the ancient soil sample in a petri dish with a modern amoeba, a single-celled organism that serves as a common host for many viruses, and they waited to see what would happen. To their astonishment, something began to stir. The amoebas started to die off, their cellular structures bursting apart. Under the microscope, the scientists found the culprit, a gigantic virus, far larger than any typical virus known to science, had emerged from its 30,000-year slumber and begun to infect and replicate within the amoebas. It was a life form that had not been active on this planet since the time of the Neanderthals, and yet, here it was, alive and infectious in a 21st century laboratory. The invisible threat was no longer hypothetical. They named this ancient giant Pithovirus sibericum, a nod to its large amphora-like shape. While this particular virus is only known to infect amoebas and poses no direct threat to humans, its successful revival was a monumental proof of concept. It demonstrated unequivocally that complex viruses can survive in a dormant state for geological timescales within the permafrost and retain their ability to infect a host upon thawing. The implications were chilling. If a virus this large and complex could survive, what else could? The revival of Pithovirus sibericum was a watershed moment, transforming abstract concerns about ancient pathogens into a tangible reality. It confirmed the deepest fears of many virologists and epidemiologists that the Arctic permafrost is not a sterile wasteland, but a vast, frozen reservoir of unknown microbial life. For every virus like Pithovirus that we identify, there could be thousands, perhaps millions of other species lying dormant beside it, each with its own unique biology and potential hosts. We are, in effect, standing at the edge of a microbial dark continent with very little knowledge of what lies within. The sheer age of these organisms is difficult to comprehend. 30,000 years is a mere blink of an eye in this context. Scientists have since revived bacteria that have been frozen for hundreds of thousands of years, and some studies suggest that microbes could potentially remain viable for millions of years if the conditions are right. These are organisms that evolved in a completely different world, alongside ancient hominids, megafauna, and ecosystems that have long since vanished. Their biology is a black box, their potential effects on modern life entirely unknown. This raises a terrifying prospect, the release of what scientists call paleo diseases. These are pathogens from the deep past for which modern humans and animals have absolutely no immunity. Our immune systems have co-evolved with the viruses and bacteria of our own time, building up a complex library of defenses over countless generations, but we have no evolutionary memory of a virus that last saw the light of day before our species had even left Africa. A confrontation with such a pathogen would be like a meeting between two completely alien biologies. The permafrost covers an immense area, nearly a quarter of the land surface of the northern hemisphere. As it thaws due to climate change, it is not just a few isolated laboratory samples that are being exposed, but millions of square kilometers of ancient soil. This is not a controlled scientific experiment, it is a massive, uncontrolled release of unknown biological agents into the global environment. Every melting riverbank, every coastal cliff crumbling into the sea, every new mine or oil pipeline dug into the tundra is a potential release point for a pathogen that humanity has never before encountered.
Perfect.
To understand the potential danger, we need only look at our own history with infectious diseases. The story of humanity is, in many ways, a story of pandemics. Plagues have shaped the course of civilizations, toppled empires, and culled populations on a massive scale. The Black Death in the 14th century, caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, wiped out as much as half of Europe's population. The Great Dying in the Americas following European contact was largely driven by diseases like smallpox and measles, introduced to populations that had no prior immunity. More recently, the 1918 influenza pandemic, misnamed the Spanish flu, infected an estimated one-third of the world's population and killed at least 50 million people, more than all the soldiers killed in the First World War. This particular strain of influenza was so deadly precisely because it was a novel virus to which most people had no pre-existing immunity. It demonstrated how quickly a new pathogen can spread in a globally connected world, and the devastating impact it can have on even the most advanced societies. The emergence of novel viruses is not a thing of the past. In our own lifetimes, we have witnessed the appearance of HIV, SARS, MERS, Ebola, and most recently, SARS-CoV-2, the virus responsible for the COVID-19 pandemic. Each of these emerged when a virus that existed in an animal reservoir spilled over into the human population. This jump from one species to another is often all it takes to unleash a global health crisis, as the virus finds itself in a new host environment with no established immunity. Now, imagine a spillover event not from a contemporary animal, but from the deep past. The thawing permafrost creates the perfect conditions for such an event. As ancient viruses are released, they can infect the wildlife that now inhabits the Arctic tundra. Reindeer, foxes, birds, or they can be carried south by migrating birds or flowing rivers. They could even infect humans directly, through industrial activity like mining and drilling in these newly accessible regions. The mechanisms for a prehistoric pathogen to enter the modern world are already in place, and are becoming more robust every year. The threat posed by these ancient microbes is unique because of its sheer unpredictability. When dealing with known diseases, we have a framework for response. We can develop vaccines, create antiviral drugs, and implement public health measures based on our understanding of the pathogen's behavior. But how do you fight an enemy you have never seen? One whose biology, mode of transmission, and effects on the human body are completely unknown. This is the central challenge posed by the thawing of the permafrost. A newly emerged paleovirus could be unlike anything our medical science has ever encountered. It might have a novel method of replication, or a protein structure that renders our current drugs useless. Its symptoms could be bizarre and unrecognizable, making diagnosis difficult until it is too late. The initial response from the global health community would be one of confusion, a scramble to identify the pathogen, sequence its genome, and understand how it works, all while the infection spreads silently through the population. This is not just a problem for the remote communities of the Arctic. In our interconnected world, a disease that emerges in a Siberian village can be in London, Tokyo, or New York within 24 hours. The vast networks of international travel and trade that are the lifeblood of our global economy also serve as superhighways for pathogens. An outbreak anywhere is a potential threat everywhere. The COVID-19 pandemic provided a stark and painful lesson in how quickly and comprehensively a novel virus can bring the world to a standstill. The scale of the unknown is staggering. Scientists estimate that there are trillions of viruses on Earth, the vast majority of which have never been identified. The permafrost holds a significant and completely uncatalogued fraction of this virusphere. We are essentially rolling the dice with every ton of ice that melts. The odds of a dangerous pathogen emerging may be low in any given year, but over time, as the thaw accelerates and deepens, the probability increases relentlessly. We are gambling with our future, and the stakes could not be higher. The natural thawing of the permafrost, due to climate change, is a slow, pervasive process, but it is being dramatically accelerated and amplified by human activity. The Arctic is a region rich in natural resources: oil, natural gas, diamonds, and valuable minerals. As the ice recedes, these resources become more accessible, triggering a new gold rush as nations and corporations move in to exploit this final frontier. This industrialization of the Arctic acts as a powerful catalyst, increasing the risk of releasing ancient pathogens. Vast open-pit mines are being dug, churning up millions of tons of ancient soil that has been frozen for millennia. Drill rigs are punching deep into the permafrost, creating conduits that can bring microbes from deep within the earth to the surface. New roads, pipelines, and settlements are being built, disturbing the landscape on an unprecedented scale. Each of these activities is like plunging a needle into the frozen skin of the planet, creating a potential pathway for infection. The very people carrying out this work are on the front line, the first potential hosts for a reawakened disease. This creates a dangerous feedback loop. The burning of the fossil fuels extracted from the Arctic contributes to further global warming, which in turn melts more permafrost, making even more resources accessible for exploitation. We are caught in a cycle of our own making, where the pursuit of short-term economic gain directly increases a long-term existential risk. The industrial machinery tearing into the tundra is not just unearthing minerals, it is potentially excavating our next pandemic from its ancient grave. The human element is critical. A paleovirus emerging in an uninhabited wilderness might eventually fizzle out, failing to find a suitable host. But a virus emerging in the middle of a bustling mining camp, with workers flying in and out from all over the world, is a completely different scenario. The camp becomes an incubator and a distribution hub, a perfect launchpad for a global outbreak. The industrialization of the Arctic is not just an environmental issue, it is a ticking time bomb for global public health. For generations, humanity has looked to the stars, contemplating the possibility of extraterrestrial life. We've imagined encounters with alien beings, pondering what form they might take and whether their intentions would be benign or, well, maybe even hostile. Our science fiction is filled with stories of invasion from other worlds, of battles against creatures from beyond our solar system. We've built telescopes and sent probes into the void, searching for any sign of life outside our own fragile biosphere, preparing ourselves for a threat from without. But perhaps, we've been looking in the wrong direction. The most alien life form we may ever encounter might not come from a distant galaxy, but from the deep past of our own planet. A virus that has been dormant for 1,000,000 years is, for all practical purposes, alien to our modern biology. It evolved in a different world, under different rules, and its reemergence would be an encounter with a truly foreign entity, one for which our bodies and our science are utterly unprepared. The battle lines are not in space, but here on Earth, in the melting ice of our own polar regions. The enemy is not a technologically advanced civilization, but a microscopic parasite, a mindless replicating machine of protein and nucleic acid that has no malice, only the biological imperative to reproduce. It is an enemy with no weaknesses we know of, no strategy we can predict. Its attack would not come with spaceships and laser beams, but with fever, coughs, and a silent, invisible spread through our interconnected world. We stand on a precipice, peering into the thawing abyss of our planet's history. The ice is melting, and the secrets it holds are coming to light. Some are magnificent, like the woolly mammoth, but others are terrifyingly subtle. We are forced to consider a chilling possibility, a scenario more plausible than any interstellar invasion. What if the deadliest enemy humanity has ever faced isn't an alien, but something buried in Earth's ice? In the frozen, seemingly lifeless world of glaciers, life shouldn't exist. Yet, against all odds, the ice worm thrives here. These remarkable creatures have conquered the ice, surviving where almost nothing else can. The ice worm is a testament to life's resilience, challenging everything we thought we knew about survival. At first glance, these tiny dark threads on the snow seem like debris. But they are Mesenchytreus solifugus, ice worms, living only in glacial cold. Their dark bodies absorb precious warmth, but even a touch of heat is fatal. As the sun sets, they emerge, true children of the cold, thriving only in the twilight of glaciers. In this barren, icy world, what could possibly sustain life? The answer lies hidden in the snow itself. Microscopic algae bloom within the snow, forming the base of a unique food chain. Iceworms graze on this algae-rich snow, thriving in a delicate, self-contained ecosystem beneath the glacier's surface. The iceworm's metabolism is a marvel, thriving in cold where others freeze. Their cells stay flexible, powered by high levels of ATP, like tiny power plants in overdrive. Studying these creatures could unlock new ways to preserve organs, create cold-active enzymes, and even reveal how life might exist on icy worlds. Iceworms are unique to each glacier, isolated for millennia by impassable terrain. Their DNA tells a story of adaptation and survival, but as glaciers melt, these remarkable creatures and their genetic legacy are vanishing. The fate of the iceworm is a powerful signal of our planet's changing climate. The discovery of the iceworm changed how we see glaciers, from lifeless ice to vibrant ecosystems teeming with hidden life. Beneath the surface, billions of microbes, fungi, and viruses form a complex, unseen world. As glaciers melt, this hidden biosphere is released, impacting rivers, lakes, and oceans. Even in the most extreme places, life finds a way, reminding us how much remains to be discovered. In 1979, Alaska's frozen ground revealed a treasure, the perfectly preserved body of a steppe bison, hidden for thousands of years. Miners uncovered the ancient beast, its hide tinged blue by minerals, earning it the name Blue Babe. Blue Babe stands as a haunting, tangible link to Alaska's Ice Age past. Blue Babe, a 36,000-year-old bison, was unearthed from Alaskan permafrost, a race against time and decay. Scientists became detectives, uncovering wounds that told of a violent Ice Age attack. The prime suspect, the American lion, a giant predator. Blue Babe's interrupted end became a scientific treasure, preserved for millennia. The preservation of Blue Babe was so extraordinary, it offered scientists a unique chance to taste the Ice Age. They prepared and ate a small portion of the ancient bison's meat, a bold symbolic act. The stew, tough and earthy, was a direct link to a world 36,000 years gone. In that moment, the past became tangible, reminding us these creatures were once alive, their essence enduring through time. Blue Babe is a window into the Pleistocene, a perfectly preserved bison revealing a world of harsh climates, rich grasslands, and ancient megafauna. Its body, hair, and even stomach contents tell the story of survival, extinction, and evolution. Blue Babe stands as a genetic ambassador from a lost world, preserved by permafrost. Blue Babe's remarkable preservation is thanks to rapid burial in freezing permafrost, which sealed the body from oxygen and decay. The intense cold flash-froze its tissues, while minerals in groundwater created a blue shell, protecting it for millennia. It's a story of perfect timing, chemistry, and nature's own cryo chamber. Blue Babe was the winning ticket in a geological lottery. Blue Babe is not alone in the frozen archives of the North. These mummified remains, from mammoths to cave lions, let us glimpse a lost world. As the permafrost melts, these giants emerge, reminders of dramatic climate shifts. Their discovery is a race against time, as modern warming threatens to erase them forever. Blue Babe stands as a symbol of a world lost and a warning for our future. In nature's coldest realms, some creatures have mastered the art of survival by freezing solid, only to thaw and live again. The wood frog, for example, endures winter as a block of ice, its heart stopped, its body flooded with natural antifreeze. Months later it thaws and returns to life, blurring the line between living and dead. Nature's ice zombies challenge everything we know about survival. The secret to the wood frog's miraculous revival lies in its blood, a complex cocktail of chemicals that would be the envy of any cryobiologist. The process is triggered by the first touch of ice on the skin. This signal travels to the liver, which goes into overdrive. In a matter of hours, the liver converts vast stores of glycogen, a form of stored sugar, into glucose. This glucose is then pumped into the bloodstream at an incredible rate, raising the sugar concentration in the frog's cells to levels that would be fatally toxic for most other animals. For the wood frog, it is the elixir of life. This massive surge of glucose acts as a cryoprotectant. Much like the antifreeze we put in a car's radiator, the sugar lowers the freezing point of the water inside the cells, while the water outside the cells, in the blood plasma and other bodily fluids, is allowed to freeze. The intracellular environment remains a super-concentrated, viscous liquid. This prevents the formation of jagged ice crystals that would otherwise puncture cell membranes and destroy the delicate organelles within. The frog essentially dehydrates its own cells from the inside out, replacing the water with a life-preserving syrup. But glucose is not the only tool in the frog's survival kit. The accumulation of urea, a waste product that is normally flushed from the body, also plays a critical role. High concentrations of urea further help to depress the freezing point and stabilize cellular proteins, preventing them from denaturing or unraveling in the extreme cold. It is a masterful synergy of chemicals, a biological solution to a deadly physical problem. The frog's body becomes a carefully balanced system of frozen and liquid zones, a state of controlled solidification that protects the most vital components. This intricate process is a marvel of evolutionary engineering. It is not a single adaptation, but a suite of interconnected mechanisms that must work in perfect harmony. The rapid glucose production, the tolerance for high sugar levels, the strategic distribution of ice formation, all of these traits have been honed over millions of years of exposure to freezing temperatures. The science of this natural antifreeze is teaching us profound lessons about how to preserve biological tissues, with potential applications in organ transplantation and cryopreservation. The humble wood frog holds the key to a technology that human science is still struggling to perfect. The wood frog may be the most celebrated of these ice-defying creatures, but it is not alone. Salamanders, caterpillars, and Antarctic fish have all evolved unique ways to survive freezing cold. Some tolerate ice, others prevent it, but all are nature's ultimate survivalists, pushing the boundaries of life in the coldest places on Earth. As spring warmth returns, the wood frog thaws from the outside in. Its heart is the first organ to awaken, beating slowly then stronger, circulating blood and flushing out glucose. Within hours, the frog is alive again, breathing, moving, and ready for the breeding season. A true resurrection every year. Nature's cryobiosis experts, like the wood frog, inspire breakthroughs in cryopreservation. By studying their strategies, such as using cryoprotectants to prevent ice damage, scientists hope to freeze and store organs, cells, and even food more effectively. These lessons could one day revolutionize medicine, organ transplants, and even enable suspended animation for space travel. The existence of these cryo-tolerant animals, these ice zombies, forces us to expand our conception of what is biologically possible. We have seen that vertebrates can, under the right circumstances, endure being frozen solid and return to life unharmed. The science is established, the phenomenon is real. It is a proven survival strategy, honed by millions of years of evolution in the planet's harshest climates. We know that small creatures with their high surface area to volume ratio can freeze and thaw relatively quickly, making the process manageable. But this raises a tantalizing and unsettling question. Could this ability ever apply to something larger? The physics of heat transfer present a significant challenge. A large animal, like a bear or a human, would freeze and thaw much more slowly than a small frog. The outer layers would freeze long before the core, and during thawing, the outside would warm up while the inside remained frozen. This differential would create immense mechanical stress, and would likely allow for significant tissue damage. The chemical logistics of flooding a massive body with cryoprotectants are also exponentially more complex. Nature, it seems, has limited this trick to smaller creatures. And yet, the discoveries of perfectly preserved megafauna like blue babe and the woolly mammoths add another layer to this speculation. These animals were not adapted to freeze solid and revive, but their bodies demonstrate that a large organism can be preserved in ice with incredible fidelity. Imagine for a moment a hypothetical creature, a large animal that possessed not only the size and strength of a mammoth, but also the cryo-tolerant cellular adaptations of a wood frog. Could such a creature enter a state of suspended animation for millennia, waiting for the ice to retreat? This is, of course, deep speculation, but nature has a habit of producing things that defy our imagination. We have found creatures that live in boiling volcanic vents and creatures that survive the vacuum of space. We have found animals that can regenerate entire limbs and organs, and we have found animals that can, for all intents and purposes, die and come back to life. The rules of biology are more flexible than we often assume. If small creatures can die and come back, what if something far larger could too? We have journeyed into the planet's deep freeze, a realm where time itself is held in suspension. We have encountered the ghosts of the Ice Age, magnificent beasts like the Woolly Mammoth and the Steppe Bison, their bodies offering us a direct, tangible connection to a lost world. Their preservation is a miracle of nature, a gift from the ice, but their re-emergence is also a warning, a symptom of a planet in flux, a world that is rapidly warming. The vaults of permafrost that have kept these secrets for tens of thousands of years are now beginning to thaw. We have peered into the microscopic world where ancient viruses and bacteria, dormant for millennia, are stirring back to life. These are pathogens our species has never encountered, for which we have no immunity. They represent an invisible and unpredictable threat, a biological Pandora's box being opened by our changing climate. And we have marveled at the resilience of life itself, in the form of ice worms and frozen frogs, creatures that have adapted to this lethal environment, pushing the very boundaries of what we thought was possible for a living organism, forcing us to ask what other impossible things might be waiting to be discovered. As the planet warms, ice that has held secrets for millions of years is melting. From giant beasts to microscopic killers, what emerges may reshape our world forever. We stand at a pivotal moment in our planet's history. The thawing of the cryosphere is not a distant, abstract concept. It is happening now, and it is uncovering a past that could have profound consequences for our future. The real question is, are we ready for what the ice is about to reveal? If these discoveries fascinated you, imagine what else still lies hidden in Earth's frozen vaults. The stories we have told are just the beginning, the first few chapters of a much larger book being written by the melting ice. There are more creatures to be found, more mysteries to be solved, and more warnings to be heeded. Subscribe to Mysterious Nature and join us as we uncover the secrets of our planet's darkest corners.